We're going to tackle a huge question today: sales ops versus revenue ops. Now, they might sound kind of the same, but trust me, picking the right one for your business can be the difference between just sputtering along and hitting that explosive exponential growth. So let's figure out which engine is the right one for you. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with the problem itself, the thing that happens when companies start to scale. Then we'll put sales ops under the microscope. And after that, we'll zoom out for the big picture with RevOps. Then comes the fun part, the head-to-head showdown. And finally, we'll help you figure out which one your business actually needs right now. This right here is the question that keeps founders and leaders up at night. As you grow, things get messy. All of a sudden, you've got clumsy handoffs between teams, customer data is locked away in different silos, and your teams are spending more time pointing fingers than working together. In this chaos, it's not just a bad feeling. It stalls your growth and leads to actual painful revenue leakage. Okay, so to fight back against that chaos, the first place most companies turn is sales operations. Think of them as the specialist, right? The original troubleshooter you bring in to restore order on the sales floor. At its core, sales ops has one single laser-focused mission: get rid of all the junk that stops your sales reps from doing the one thing they're supposed to do: sell. I love this analogy of a pit crew. The sales reps are your race car drivers, and sales ops is the crew in the back handling everything: the tires, the fuel, the engine, so those drivers can just go faster and win. And just look at how tactical these responsibilities are. It's all about sales execution. We're talking about cleaning up the CRM, defining who sells where, figuring out commission plans. Every single one of these jobs is designed to make that individual sales team more efficient, more productive, and way more effective at closing deals. But what happens when the chaos isn't just inside the sales team? What if it's the friction between sales and marketing and customer success? Well, that's when you have to zoom out and look at the whole picture. And that, my friends, is where revenue operations steps into the room. RevOps is a completely different beast. It's not a specialist for just one team. It's a generalist for the entire go-to-market engine. And this is a huge deal because the way customers buy has totally changed. They want a smooth, seamless experience, which means all your internal teams have to be perfectly in sync. RevOps is that connective tissue that holds it all together, creating one single unified machine. And this really shows you the massive strategic shift. RevOps is like the orchestra conductor for the entire customer lifecycle. So think about what that means. They're making sure a lead for marketing is passed to sales without a hitch. They're building a single source of data so everyone is looking at the same customer story. And they're making sure that whatever sales promise is exactly what customer success delivers. No surprises. Okay, so we've got the specialist and we've got the generalist. Now let's put them side by side to really hammer home what makes them so different. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this: sales ops is all about fine-tuning the sales team to get maximum performance. RevOps, that's about optimizing the entire revenue engine for predictable, scalable growth. It's the difference between a simple tune-up for one part of the car and a complete system overhaul of the whole vehicle. This chart just makes it so clear, doesn't it? Look at the scope. SalesOps serves one department. RevOps serves three. The metrics also tell a huge story. SalesOps cares about things like win rates. RevOps is looking at the whole journey, things like customer lifetime value and net revenue retention, and this one's crucial. Look where they report. SalesOps to the head of sales, but RevOps often straight to the CEO or a chief revenue officer. That gives them the authority they need to work across departments. So this all brings us to the big question for your business. Which one do you need and when? Let's plead doctor for a second and diagnose the symptoms to find the right cure. Here's the deal. If your biggest headaches are all about sales execution, you need sales ops, period. If your reps are spending more time doing data entry than actually selling, if your pipeline meetings are all gut feel instead of hard data, and if every new person has to basically invent their own process, then your number one priority has to be building a strong sales ops function to get your house in order. But if your biggest problems are the cracks between departments, well, that's a massive flashing neon sign that you need RevOps. This is what I call the blame game stage, right? Marketing is mad at sales for not following up. Sales says the leads are garbage, and customer success is constantly ambushed by promises they never knew were made. That kind of friction is exactly what the holistic approach of RevOps is designed to eliminate. All right, let's bring it all home, because understanding the difference is great, but knowing where the entire industry is heading, that's what gives you a real strategic edge. This pretty much says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly boils down the core idea. Are you trying to solve a problem of efficiency for one team? Or are you trying to solve a problem of strategic alignment for the entire business? One is tactical, the other is truly transformational. And look, the trend here is just undeniable. Gartner is predicting that by 2026, a massive 75%, that's 3 out of every 4 of the world's fastest growing companies, will be running on a RevOps model. And why? Well, because it's basically becoming the new standard for how you achieve predictable, scalable growth in the modern world. And that really brings us to the final question you've got to ask yourself. This choice, SalesOps versus RevOps, it's not just some small operational tweak. It's a strategic decision. It determines whether you can actually build a business that's predictable, that's scalable, and that puts the customer at the center of everything. So are you building an engine just for today? Or are you building it for the future you're trying to create?